why. It costs between $250,000 and $450,000 to even start a franchise. These are
it costs that much for a Popeyes restaurant? Wow. This is the LC Media Network, and this, believe it or not, is Sports Final with Steve the Baxman Baxley. We're late, but we're good. And it's, as always, sponsored by the L2C Media Network. And now with the details that makes the sports world go round and round and hit you in the balls. Here's our host, Steve the Baxman Baxley. Okay, thanks. Hi, everybody. This is what happens when everything you plan goes awry. Hi, everybody. Sorry for the not purposeful delay, but we're here. How you doing? We're going to do things a little different here. We're going to go first with the headlines, so let's get to it. The NBA, oh boy, they've been in the news recently. And, well, not for exactly a good thing. You thought David Sterling was rotten to the core. Wait till you hear this latest one. But first, let's get one thing out of the way here up front. Going to productive NBA career. Now, what we're finding out was an extremely loaded draft this past July, and a skill for modern basketball. That being said, he's off to one of the roughest shooting starts in NBA history. After going 4 for 17 from the field and the Pistons' 109-98 loss to the Philadelphia 76ers on Thursday, Cunningham is now 7 for 39 from the field in his first three NBA games. The 17.9% clip is the worst for a rookie with at least 30 field goal attempts in his first three games since the NBA-ABA merger in '76. That girl Justin Kubatko, Cunningham is over 2 percentage points worse than the previous mark of 20% from former Dallas Mavericks center Sean Bradley. Golden State Warrior guard Jordan Poole and the Orlando Magic's number 5 were all picked from this year. Jalen Suggs round out the list, and wow. Now, Cunningham has been especially from the three-point range, where he's gone 1 for 21, started his career after shooting 40% on 5.7 attempts per game in the early season at Oklahoma State. Can we lower the camera down a bit? Thank you. Must garner the look. Yes. Pistons coach Dwayne Casey said after Cunningham's 1 for 7 3-point shooting in Thursday's loss to the 76ers, quote, his shot is going to fail. His shot is going to fall. It's a matter of time before he gets his rhythm with a 3-point shot, end quote. Now, it is a testament to Cunningham's talent and basketball IQ that he's been able to impact the game positively despite his poor shooting. He put up 18 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 assists in 31 minutes while going 9 for 10 from the free-throw line in Thursday's loss to the 76ers and was a +7 in a game his team lost by 11 points. Now, Cunningham became the first Detroit rookie since Grant Hill to record a double-double in 3 games or fewer, and the only other Piston to accomplish that feat, 1981, Isaiah Thomas, Hall of Famer. Casey said he has made an effort to put the ball in his prized rookie's hands more, and he's been pleased with the results. Let's hope the fans will be pleased. And, well, I guess you can be a man and blame your equipment. Joel Embiid has done so. For the first time since 1982, the NBA is not playing with the Spalding basketballs that have spanned the full career of every player in the league to this point. Shooting is down across the board entering play on Thursday. The league is shooting a collective 343% from the three-point line. That would rank as the lowest mark this century, in the league's 44.8 overall shooting percentage would be the lowest mark since 2004 per Basketball Reference. Now, individually, there are a few notable shooting nosedives. Anthony Davis is shooting 15% from the line. Damian Lillard shooting 23%. Bradley Beal is at 24%. Luka Doncic, to be fair, has been more of a volume than a high percentage shooter. Shits. Yes, he does. But he does also sit at 25%. So move that light. Thank you. Or is it our tally here? Nope, I think it's this. Let me just. There we go. That's better. Now, it's obviously early, and over the years, there are noted trends of the league's collective shooting percentages starting out low and slowly improving as the season goes on. There's no way to draw a direct line between the new balls and the heretofore shooting decline, but we shall wait and see what happens next. Okay, well, Aaron Rodgers, get ready for Judgment Day, because it's coming whether you like it or not. And that's the big question. The Aaron Rodgers situation has turned into a dicey one for the Green Bay Packers, and that's because the NFL is now reviewing whether Rodgers violated any COVID protocols over the past few months. Now, if the NFL finds out that Rodgers did violate the league's protocol, then Rodgers and the team could both be staring at a potentially serious punishment. For the Packers, the NFL has the right to take away draft picks. Last year, there were multiple teams that got hit with big fines, and the two most notable ones were the Raiders and the Saints. In New Orleans, not only did the Saints get fined $700,000 for multiple COVID violations, but they also got docked a sixth-round draft pick. The Raiders, they got fined a total of $800,000 for multiple COVID violations, but they also got docked a sixth-round pick, but that pick ended up being reinstated in March after the team appealed the decision. In both the Raiders and Saints cases, the teams were fined $500,000, with players and coaches paying out the rest of the fines. Now, not only does the NFL have the power to hand out a hefty fine or take away draft picks, but the league has already proven that it's not afraid to use that power, which means it wouldn't be totally surprising if the NFL ends up punishing the Packers. On Rodgers' end, he could also face a punishment if he was purposely disregarding those COVID protocols. According to them, agreed by not only the NFL, but the NFL Players Association, a player is generally fined $14,650 for the offense, but if there are repeated offenses, they can be fined a total of one game check. In the most serious of circumstances, a player could be suspended for up to 4 games for conduct detrimental to the team. So did the Packers and or Rodgers actually violate any rules? Simple answer, yes. Since Rodgers is unvaccinated, he is supposed to be wearing a mask wherever one of his press conferences is held indoors at the team's facility. The actual rule from the NFL COVID protocol handbook is the following. Quote, all players and staff who are not fully vaccinated must wear masks. Surgical masks are preferred. Gaiters and masks with valves or vents are prohibited at all times when inside the club facility. End quotation. Rodgers has regularly been going maskless during his interviews, including back in August when he told the media he was immunized. Ooh, that doesn't sound good, does it now? No, it doesn't. So we continue on. Now to our college basketball report. Houston landed its highest rated commitment of the 24/7 sports era on Thursday when 5-star power forward Jarace Walker picked the Cougars over Alabama and Auburn. Now, Walker is ranked the number 13 overall player in the 2022 recruiting class by 24/7 Sports and narrowly edged out class of 2012 Houston signee Danielle House as the program's top commitment in the modern era. Walker's first five-star commitment for the program under an eighth-year coach, Kelvin Sampson, who led Houston to a 28-4 record and a Final joins fellow top 100 prospects Terrence Austinell and Emmanuel Sharp, both four-star prospects in the program's 2022 class. Such a strong class that is now headlined by Walker is a sign of Houston's staying power on the national as the program prepares for a future transition from the 2AC to the Big 12 on the heels of its deepest NC2A tournament run since 1982. At 6'8", 220 pounds, Walker could develop into a versatile weapon at the college level. And we can't wait to see this guy play. First time ever we ever did a high school report. But in this case, wow. All students at Armstrong High School in the Pittsburgh area have been banned from attending the school's hockey games, and a specific group of students faced disciplinary action after an ugly incident at a recent game in which vulgarities and sexually charged chants were directed at the female goalie on a visiting team. The incident occurred at a game on October 28th when Armstrong played Mars Hockey Club. Now, according to a Pittsburgh Post-Gazette report, an estimated 50 to 60 students at the Mars goalie, who has served as her team's starter in all 5 games this season. Some of the chants were sexually explicit, as the group at one point yelled, suck our... do we have... Yes. Suck our... No. Wrong cue. Thank you. Towards the goalie. Speaking to the Post-Gazette, Armstrong principal Kurt Lorgan stated that he was appalled and embarrassed with the students' actions, while also expressing disgust that neither Armstrong parents nor security personnel attempted to stop the chants. Logan, in a statement, said, quote, "We're continuing to investigate because there were several kids there and we're still trying to identify them and who the ringleaders were for this. It's an unfortunate and embarrassing situation. Armstrong High School has to identify those students, and a decision will be made as to what the consequences will be. In my mind, this should have been stopped immediately by anyone that was there who had any moral value at all. I'm disgusted by it. There were a lot of people there who could have handled this differently." End quote. Now, Lorigan has apologized to Mars assistant principal Jess Semler on behalf of the school and also personally apologized to the goalie herself. The goalie, whose identity has been left confidential, is the only goalie on Mars's roster and currently plays at both the JV and varsity levels. Mars coach Steve Myers said about all this, quote, "We've had plenty of girls in this league before and never heard anything like this. With all the training we're required to do as coaches about safe sports and sportsmanship, this should not happen. For it to fail this badly, it's really disappointing." Now, according to the Post-Gazette, a meeting between the Pennsylvania Interscholastic Hockey League and Armstrong's Hockey Board to discuss the situation and potential discipline for students was scheduled to be held Wednesday night. We'll let you know what becomes of it. How about a whole hell of a lot? And as my cat looks at me, thank you. Now, Georgia's got a little problem on their hands. That's right. Not only are they the number 1 ranked team in the country and in the cherished college football playoff rankings, they got a big problem. Georgia linebacker and projected first-round NFL draft pick Adam Anderson has reportedly been suspended indefinitely while authorities investigate, according to the 4-letter monolith ESPN. Not only ESPN, but The Athletic and the Herald are among the outlets reporting that Anderson faces a rape allegation in Athens, Georgia, following an altercation with a 21-year-old woman last week. ESPN reported that Anderson had been suspended indefinitely, and The Athletic added that the senior linebacker was not at practice early this week. Kirby Smart has not commented on Anderson's status specifically, but acknowledged that the university was very much aware of the report. Said Smart in a statement, quote, "We don't comment on law enforcement matters, but I've been clear about the high standards we have for our student athletes on and off the field. I will be working closely with our administration to ensure we cooperate fully with all law enforcement and campus protocol," end quote. The incident reportedly occurred days before Georgia's 34-7 win against Florida on Saturday. No arrests have been made, and authorities have indicated that the investigation is ongoing. Anderson leads the team with 5 sacks, ranks second in tackles for loss, and was second on the team in sacks in 2020 as a rotation player in Georgia's defensive front. He currently ranks number 22 in the 2022 NFL draft class, according to the NFL draft prospect rankings of CBS Sports. It's one of several Georgia defenders to potentially land in the first round. Now, how much will this affect Saturday's game? Good night to you too, Mom. My mother, ladies and gentlemen, giving us a cameo appearance. Now, as I was saying, number 1 Georgia plays Missouri on Saturday in Athens. The Bulldogs are 38-point favorite in the matchup. And with this problem, I think that's going to be a little lower. Yes, indeed. A very little lower. All right, let's kick it to our Thursday night football extravaganza. The Indianapolis Colts didn't meet much resistance when it counted as they moved to 4-5 on the season after defeating the lackluster New York Jets on Thursday Night Football. 45-30, while that final score may not suggest a blowout, New York's points largely came in garbage time with the game out of reach in the second half. From the jump, Indy was able to put points on the board, going on an 88-yard touchdown drive on the club's opening possession. At first, the Jets were able to hold serve with the Colts as Mike White responded to a touchdown drive with one of his own. With rookie Elijah Moore and a 19-yard score. However, White suffered a forearm injury in the midst of that drive and didn't return for. It was at that point when New York was left in the dust. The Colts would find the end zone on all 4 of their offensive possessions in the first half to go up by double digits at the break. They only continued to pour it on in the second half and finished with 532 yards of offense. Jonathan Taylor led the Colts backfield in what was a dominating night on the ground as he finished with 172 yards and 2 touchdowns. Carson Wentz completed 22 of his 30 passes on the night for 272 yards and 3 touchdowns. Mom? Excuse me. I hate these things. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah. I hope that concludes the test. It's okay. It's okay. These damn little emergency broadcast things got to me. I'm sorry, and I'm sorry to the viewers. God dang it. Okay. Carson Wentz completed 22 of his 30 passes on the night for 272 yards and 3 touchdowns. Meanwhile, White completed 7 of his 11 throws for the Jets for 95 yards and a touchdown before departing. With White on the shelf, Josh Johnston came in under duress and completed 27 of 41 for 317 yards. 3 touchdowns and an interception in the losing effort. And there, ladies and gentlemen, is what we got. Thank you, guys. Thank you. There you go. Oops. There we are. A little music. Hey. A little music doesn't hurt anyone, I guess. Might hurt us. Anyway, so the final score: Indianapolis Colts 45, New York Jets 30. Very good Thursday night game. I'm going to say it definitely was a blowout, so bing me the bell. All righty. Well, we're getting to the lackluster portion of the show where we go for the scoreboards. And, well, we've already done the NFL Thursday night scoreboard, so let's get on to the NBA right now. And by the way, all of our scores on the scoreboard sponsored and presented by Caesars Sportsbook. Remember, we are all Caesars. All right, let's get to it, and we're going to talk about Odell. We're going to talk about Odell. And now let's give you this. As we talked about earlier, the Philadelphia 76ers took down the Detroit Pistons 109-98. Curry for Philly, 23 points, 2 assists. Grant for Detroit, 27 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists. Boston Celtics took care of the amazingly lackluster, and yes, if you want more words like lackluster, how about oi? There's a word for you. Oi. Celtics over the Heat, 95-78. Brown had a lot to do for Boston, 17 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Butler for Miami, 20 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. Utah Jazz beat the Atlanta Hawks 116-98. Clarkson for Utah, 30 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Young for Atlanta, 21 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists. Not bad. Not bad at all. Phoenix Suns got rid of the Houston Rockets 123-111. Porter for Houston, 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists, which wasn't bad when you think about it. Booker for Phoenix, 27 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists. I think we'll... Okay. Oh, that's nice to know. That's nice to know. I wish we can, but I know we can't. Okay. Whoops. No. There we go. Thank you. Okay, it's just, thank you. Yeah, the sunrise is something, but let's keep going. Okay, where are we here? Oh, yes. Oklahoma City Thunder continue to give the Lakers problems. They beat them 107-104. Gilgeous Alexander for Oklahoma City, 28 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists. Davis for the Lakers, 29 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists. Not bad. Not bad. And that was it for the NBA. Hey, how about we go from the hardwood? Okay, since we can't do it that way, we'll do it this way. Let's go from the hardwood to the synthetic ice. If we can. And we do. There we go. One more time. Time for a hockey. And we got a lot of hockey to talk about, kids. As we all know, let's go to it. Ba-boop and ba-bam. And hey, we got some 3 stars from Olsen to do. So let's get to it. Boston Bruins overtook the Detroit Red Wings 5-1. Bergeron for Boston, 4 goals. Marchand for Boston, 4 assists. And Riley for Boston, 1 goal and 1 assist. Golden Knights of Vegas over the Ottawa Senators, 5-1. Lehner for Vegas, 38 saves. Marchessault for Las Vegas, 2 goals. And Roy for 2 goals in Vegas. So there you go. New York Islanders beat Les Canadiens du Montreal by a score of 6-2. Nelson for the Islanders, 4 goals. Beauvilliers for the Islanders, 3 assists. And Suzuki for Montreal, 1 goal and 1 assist. In overtime, Pittsburgh Penguins defeated the Philadelphia Flyers 3-2. Letang for Pittsburgh, 1 goal. Gunsel for Pittsburgh, 1 goal. And Jerry for Pittsburgh, 36 saves. Another overtime game, but this time different winner. Maple Leafs over the defending Stanley Cup champ Tampa Bay Lightning by a score of 2-1. Nylander for Toronto, 1 goal. Campbell for Toronto, 24 saves. And Vasilevsky for Tampa Bay, 32 saves. Not bad. And here's more. Yeah, we got more. Another overtime breaker. Florida Panthers over the Washington Capitals, 5-4. Barkov for Florida, 2 goals. Ovechkin for Washington, a goal and an assist. And Vetrano for Florida. Well, he got mentioned, but for what? We're still trying to figure out. Another overtimer was the Dallas Stars 4, the Calgary Flames 3. Heiskanen for Dallas, 3 assists. Zadorov for Calgary, 1 goal and an assist. Seguin for Dallas, 1 goal. They released the Kraken. How many more times are we going to do that joke? I don't know, but it seems funny at the time. Kraken over the Sabres, 5-2. Yeah, we were cracking up. Eberle and Ivory for Seattle, 3 goals. Schwartz for Seattle, a goal and 2 assists. And Olasak for Seattle, 1 assist. And finally, St. Louis Blues. Boom, 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 boom. Beat the San Jose Sharks 5-3. Saad for St. Louis was happy. He got 2 goals. Bozak for St. Louis, even more happier with 2 assists. And Burns for San Jose, 1 goal and 1 assist. And there you go. Are we through with the hockey segment? No, are you kidding? We are never through with hockey because why? Because for us, hockey is in. Shall we continue our assault? That's right. We got some big time scores for you, as if one big time isn't enough. Let's give you the rest of les scores from last night. From hello. Wait a minute. Did we give them the Wednesday scores? No, we didn't because I was ill. So let's give them Wednesday scores since there was no action on Thursday. Lehigh Valley Phantoms over the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins, 4-0. Rochester Americans over the Belleville Senators, 4-3. Colorado Eagles over the Texas Stars, 4-1. Ontario Reign over the Henderson Silver Knights, 5-2. Stockton Heat over the San Jose Barracuda, 4-1. There you go. They were from last night because tonight there was no action for the OHL. And I should explain more about last night. I know everybody's been asking, so we'll get to that shortly. Because, well, we got a lot to talk about tonight. And let's see here. Okay, we got 2 games on Thursday. Erie over Niagara, 6-4. And the friends at North Bay, the Battalion, defeated the fine folks in Peterborough. Actually, did they? Yeah, they did. 6-3 was the final score. And there you go. Can we do last night as well? Let's give these guys a little Wednesday cadage. Okay, Wednesday we had Windsor over Flint, 6-2. Mississauga over Kensington, 3-2 in overtime. And the Sioux beat Saginaw, 8-4. That was last night and tonight's game action. And right now, we're going to go surpassing everything and take you over to some very interesting media bites for tonight. In fact, we are going to be taking a look at a couple of things. You remember long ago and far away, controversy took place on the Los Angeles Clippers when they were owned by Donald Sterling, who said a few things to his girlfriend while he was still married. And those things were not exactly, hi, how are you? And honey, let me explain things. No, they were crude, rude, ignorant, racist, homophobic, and they cost Donald Sterling the Los Angeles Clippers, who were bought by Steve Ballmer, who gave us Microsoft. And we thought, hey, this is all over. We don't have to worry anymore. Start worrying again, because it happened. Back on October 22nd, the Phoenix Suns took an unusual action, putting out a series of preempted denials of a then unpublished ESPN investigation into Phoenix Suns owner Robert Sarver. That investigation by ESPN's Baxter Holmes was published Thursday, almost 2 weeks after those initial denials. It contains many accounts of awful racist and sexist comments from Sarver, and also significant racist and sexist comments and actions from others in the organization. Anyway, we continue. It's my cat, Uno, having his fun at my expense, or my expense. It also contained in sometimes specific denials from Sarver, seen above in a March 4th game, and the organization that much of what's reported here happened, and it's uncommon in that regard. There have been numerous in-depth investigations of racist and sexist behavior from organizations and specific personnel over the past few years. Now, those have often led to specific firings of particular people. It's more unusual to see that lead to an owner being forced out. That is what has happened, including in the NBA with Donald Sterling, in Major League Soccer in the National Women's Soccer League with Deloy Hansen, and in the NWSL with Steve Baldwin. So there are potentially high stakes here for Sarver, and his response has been A, to dispute the story before its publication, and B, to continue the denials. We call it this Donald Sterling event, the Donald Sterling effect. Now, one example from perhaps the most inflammatory part of the piece, and one with an on-the-record accusation rather than an anonymous one. Former head coach Earl Watson's claim about Sarver using the N-word after an October 30th, 2016 game. After the loss, Suns majority owner Robert Sarver entered the coach's locker room. Watson told ESPN, quote, why does Draymond Green get to run up the court and say N-word? Sarver, who is white, allegedly said, repeating the N-word several times in a row. Watson, who is black and Hispanic, told Sarver, quote, you can't say that, end quote. Sarver replied, quote, why? Draymond Green says N-word, end quote. Watson said again, quote, you can't effing say that, end quote. Knowledge using the word once many years ago, quote, on one occasion, a player used the N-word to describe the importance of having each other's back. I responded by saying I wouldn't say N, that we're in the foxhole together. An assistant coach approached me a short time after and told me that I shouldn't say the word, even if I were quoting someone else. I immediately apologized, and I haven't said it ever again. The N-word has never been a part of my vocabulary. End quote. Well, in the case of the October 30th, 2016 game versus the Warriors, Sarver and his lawyers wrote that Sarver did not have that conversation with Watson, but had one with a Suns player who received a technical foul for what they said was the use of the N-word during the game. Sarver said he encouraged the player to appeal the technical foul because Green had used the word in the game. Technical foul was later rescinded by the league. Sarver denied Watson's characterization of the incident. This is absolutely untrue. I remember the game and topic clearly. I, of course, never used the word myself during this conversation. I said N-word without saying the full word. The word itself never crossed my lips. Quote, let me be crystal clear. I never once suggested on night or ever that I should be able to say the N-word because a player or a black person uses it, end quote. Now, much of the piece is like that, with claims of racist or sexist behavior from Sarver, usually anonymously, claim one for the specific accusation of N-word usage in 2013. Then Sarver issuing statements to try to refute them. And part of what's unusual here is that many of Sarver's statements are not what we usually see. Such an attempt to recontextualize comments, they're flat out denials that he made those comments. And it goes beyond the N-word accusations. It includes comments about condoms. 4 former employees said Sarver would brag about his sex life and wearing Magnum condoms in staff meetings. Sarver said he didn't talk about his sex life and absolutely not about condoms. Crying employees, 2 former employees, said Sarver berated a female employee. She broke down. He said, why do all you women around here cry so much? End quote. While he said he didn't, quote, remember a single instance that an employee ever cried in front of me, end quote. Comments about the Suns needing to have local strippers impregnated by NBA players to get them to come or to stay in Phoenix. I never said anything like that, period, and more. The denials go beyond Sarver specifically, too. The piece includes a discussion of a female employee going to HR after a female co-worker was physically assaulted by a male co-worker outside the office. With those women telling the 4-letter monolith, the ESPN, there were no investigation. The male co-worker only had his desk moved slightly. But the Suns saying they could, quote, take no action because both employees declined to speak with HR and because neither employee expressed an interest in having the Suns intervene concerning the dispute and denying ever instructing either employee to move their desk to resolve the domestic issue they were having, and the many other accusations of racist and sexist behavior in an organization tend to come with similar denials. The end result, we are left with 2 starkly different accounts of the same situation. On one side, based on interviews with more than 70 current and past employees, but with many of them speaking under the term of being anonymous. On the other side, there's the Suns and Sarver fervently denying that many of the most inflammatory parts of that piece ever happened. Without audio or video recordings, there isn't much evidence beyond the testimonies on both sides. Now, the ESPN side seems certainly stronger. It's difficult to believe that many people would fabricate stories, and those stories would hold up under cross-checking. It is notable that most of the significant claims here are supported by multiple anonymous sources, not just one. It's also difficult to believe that ESPN would publish this if they weren't highly confident in it, specifically and especially given the legal threat from Sarver and the Suns. But the preemptive, continued, and high-scale denials from Sarver and the Suns do raise some uncertainty. Now, it should be noted that plenty of initial fervent denials are later contradicted by a mountain of evidence, with a recent example being the Chicago Blackhawks NHL situation. And that situation made those initial denials from the team and the league look awful in retrospect. And that may wind up being the case here. But that situation also illustrated the importance of a full outside investigation in actually effecting change. The media reports kicked that off and led to that investigation, but the actual change came from that investigation and from its results being made available to the public. And it seems likely that may be what's needed here. In fact, Suns Vice Chairman John Nafaji has already issued a statement saying he'll support an investigation if the NBA launches one. We will keep you informed. By the way, Mark Stein of ESPN later reported the NBA is expected to soon launch an investigation into the allegations reported today and included a statement from Sarver with further denials and one saying he'd entirely welcome an impartial NBA investigation. Good luck. And if it is proven that the gentleman did say these things, he should be treated like Donald Sterling. and tossed out on his bigoted, gerbil-headed ass. But if there is some question as to the reporting on the ESPN piece being slanderous, it could cost ESPN and their owners, Disney and Hearst, 20%, some very big cash, and quite possibly leave a black mark in the relationship between the NBA and ESPN. We shall wait to see what happens next in this little story. And they're not the only ones having a little problem with letting a certain part of their anatomy do the thinking. Our friends over at Barstool Sports are having a little bit of controversy. That's right. In fact, Barstool Sports founder David Portnoy has a documented history of grooming young women for violent sexual encounters, according to a new Business Insider report by Julia Black. Now, granted, Portnoy is no stranger to reports of misogyny. Black's reporting details a pattern of sexual predation that one woman referred to as a traumatic experience, telling friends that I felt like I was being raped. Black spoke with several women, all using pseudonyms out of concern that Portnoy and fans of Barstool Sports, known as Stoolies, would attempt to intimidate and attack them, as is known to happen and is part of Portnoy's brand. Each woman outlined a similar experience in which they contacted Portnoy through direct message, engaged in sexually explicit conversations, met him in person, engaged in sex that turned violent and aggressive without a sense that they were able to say no or stop. Now, Portnoy has disputed the reporting in 2 videos he posted to Twitter, and you can find that out on the bottom of Awful Announcing's post. Black released her own released a statement saying, quote, insiders spoke with more than 24 people with direct experience with Portnoy and Barstool, including 8 current or former employees. Some women as young as 19 who had no professional connection to Portnoy recounted having sexually explicit online exchanges with him. 3 of these women said they had sex with Portnoy, now 44, and that the encounters turned into frightening and humiliating experiences that have taken a toll on their mental health. 2, including Madison, said Portnoy both choked and filmed them without advance permission. Another, who has had depression, said she was suicidal after the 2 had sex. Now, Portnoy has built an empire at Barstool based on the boys will be boys mantra, even as the company bought on a female CEO and expanded its staff to include more female talent. An unapologetic thread and misogyny their content and strategy. Portnoy is, of course, a ringleader, one writing in a convicted rapist that, quote, I never condone rape, but if you're a size 6 and you're wearing skinny jeans, you kind of deserve to be raped, end quote. While that comment is just the tip of the iceberg, Barstool has thrived, venturing into various media verticals, albeit not for long. Aligning itself with major sports, albeit not with the best results, attracting big sponsors, working with named talent, at least for a while, and having Penn National Gaming purchase a 36% stake in the company. Now, Black reached out to Penn National and Barstool CEO Erica Nardini for a comment, but didn't receive any. A Barstool sports attorney did respond, saying that the woman's accusation quote, embody half-truths and are highly misleading, lack appropriate context, and appear to have been provided to you by individuals whose motivations and trustworthiness should have been fully vetted, end quote. Now, as detailed in the story, the big aspects of Portnoy's ability to survive unscathed from controversial statements or articles such as this one is the system of intimidation that is built up around him. As detailed by one of the women in the article, said she was kind of scared while having sex with Portnoy and later hospitalized after becoming suicidal. Even going to the police felt it wouldn't be worth it. Quote, I knew he would drag me through the mud, end quote. The young woman said of her mother's desire to pursue legal action against Portnoy. Now, if there's any reason to think Portnoy's unchecked behavior might not go on forever, it's was a publicly traded company. Following the publishing of the Business Insider article, Penn's stock price, which was already or earnings call and discussion that they won't make the cut for betting in New York, dipped even further. Now, it's hard to say how much of an impact this story has on the financial status of Penn. Some sites are citing it for